Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hope all is good. I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. God is good. God is great. And we here. So, what I want to talk about today is up and coming super middleweight contender David Morrell, and something I read and heard recently from his trainer, Ronnie Shields, who was also the trainer of middleweight champion who supposedly is going to move up to 168, and that's Jamal Lyons Only Charlo. So Ronnie Shields, David Morrell and David Benavidez have been having a back and forth. And recently, David Benavidez, right before and definitely after he fought David Lemieux, he beat David Lemieux a few weeks ago, and he called Charlo, Caleb Plant, and David Morrell, he called them the B word. And, he said, they're a bunch of B's. And, I'll beat them all, basically. So David Morrell, of course, he took offense to it. He said, well, I ain't no B. He said, but after I, fight you, I'm going to make you my B. So they've been going back and forth. The thing is, David Morrell is an up-and-coming contender. He only has 7 fights under his belt with 6 knockouts. And I'm not saying that because he only has 7 fights that, that don't make him a good fighter or he's not bona fide or he's not the real deal. I'm just saying what it is. He got 7 fights and 6 knockouts. I don't know if he's ready for Benavidez, but I'll say Benavidez is not no monster either. So why not fight him? I don't know why people calling this dude or acting like he's some crusher or like, Sergey Kovalev, they called him the crusher. Like David Benavidez ain't no crusher. He ain't no slayer. He ain't no monster or assassin that they call him. So maybe maybe he should fight him. But Ronnie Shields, even though they had been having this back and forth, and even though David Morrell is eager to fight, it seems like his trainer is like, nah. He said recently that he don't want to put David Morrell in a bad situation, or a situation that he's not ready for, is what he said. And, it's kind of confusing because he said a few things in the article. He said he don't want to put him in a situation he's not ready for. But then at the same time, he was saying, when he was asked about Benavidez and Caleb Plant, he said he felt that he could beat both of them, right? But then he also went on to say, if he beats Benavidez, what happens next? He's not like he's going to get Canelo. So that's where the confusion comes in. If you feel like he could beat Benavidez and Caleb Plant, but beat Benavidez in particularly, if you feel like he could do that already, then why not put him in there? I mean, that's only going to raise his stock. It's not going to push him backwards. You know what I'm saying? And then when you ask the question, what position is they going to put him in? He's not like he's going to fight Canelo. Well, Benavidez ain't fighting Canelo right now. But if Canelo sticks around, he's definitely going to get that fight. Pardon me. If Benavidez, if Canelo sticks around for a few more years, 2-3 more years, he's definitely going to get that fight because Canelo he's going to stay at 168. That fight with Bivol showed him what his limit is. So he's not going to be campaigning at no 175. And I think if he does a rematch, they're already talking about the rematch at 168. If he does the rematch at 175, I know he's not going to stay there because that's just not the weight class for him. That's his limit, is 168. He came from 147, 168 is his limit. So Benavidez is going to get that fight sooner or later, right? So now Ronnie Shields says it's not like he's going to fight Canelo, so why do it? Yeah, you should do it because then you'll be in the position David Morrell will be in the position that Benavidez is in, which is a good situation. Because for his next fights, honestly, it should be no less than Charlo, Caleb Plant, and possibly David Morrell. But let's just say if you want to take David Morrell out of it, Charlo and Caleb Plant, those should be his next fights. Boxing, the politics of boxing, man, is really, it really has to stop. There's no way all the talking, all the trash talking that Caleb Plant does, just like he did with Canelo, and got his ass knocked out, right? Now you talk about Benavidez, but you getting ready to fight who? Anthony Durrell? Why are you fighting Anthony Durrell? You can't raise your stock. You can't prove nothing by fighting Anthony Durrell. He got losses. Benavidez beat him. You trying to fight Benavidez, but you gonna fight Anthony Durrell, who Benavidez beat him? Why fight Anthony Durrell? You're not getting nothing out of that. He's not a top contender. He's not even a top contender. He's not even in the top 10. Like, come on, man. You're not getting that out of that fight. So they should be, to me, the organization should stop it. Make Caleb Plant fight David Benavidez or Charlo, and that's it. Charlo shouldn't be fighting Selecki. That was postponed because he got a back injury. But he shouldn't be fighting Selecki. He should be fighting David Benavidez or Caleb Plant. We already know how Charlo is. He's wishy-washy. Mike Tyson had him on the hot boxing and had to and tried to make him say David Benavidez's name. That was hard. He wouldn't even say his name that he wanted to fight him. So we know what he's working with. He's just a talker. He's not like Jamel. Jamel do the walking, and Jamal does the talking. All right. So when it comes to David Morrell, Ronnie Shields did say, he said he'll fight anybody. He said he's ready to fight anybody, or he will fight anybody, is what he said. He said he'll fight anybody. He really wants to fight. He said he's very serious about his training, and he's dedicated, and he's willing to learn. And I don't have a problem with him waiting to fight Benavidez. But if that's what he really wants, and he wants it now, then hey, let him get a shot. Remember, Lomachenko, 11, 12 fights he only had, and they was calling him pound for pound. Andre Ward was one of the leading people that was calling him pound for pound, one of the best fighters. And I knew that was a lie. He really no pound for pound. You know what I mean? But they was calling him that with 12 fights on his belt. And he still don't got 20 fights on his belt. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko. So I'm just saying, 7, 8 fights, hey, you never know what that, you might be one of the people that can have a shorter, you might have a short career. Your career might not be 30, 40 fights. You might have a career of 20-something fights, right? And be a champion. Maybe you won't fight 30 times or 35 times. Everybody's not going to do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? But you might be a champion in your 8th, 9th, 10th fight, and then when you get to 20-something fights, you'll be ready to get up out of there because you don't know how long your window is going to be. So I'm just saying they need to figure out what they're going to do. Because if your fighter is saying he wants to fight Benavidez, and then you go into the media and you tell him he's not ready, and you want to put him in a bad situation, that don't look good either, because that means y'all not on the same page. So y'all got to work that out, because the media, man, the reporters, they're going to pick that apart, which is what they like to do anyway. So divide and conquer. So y'all got to figure out which one is it, man. All right? I don't have a problem with him waiting to fight Benavidez, maybe get 10 fights under his belt at least. But that's really a number, man. I mean, if he's mentally ready and physically ready, go for the fight. Because we don't want him fighting a whole bunch of nobodies either, just to try to get to, how many times is he going to do that? Okay? So, hey, you might have to put him in there and see what he could do and see what he's working with. All right? Benavidez, like I said, his next fight, he said And I think everybody, well, most people would agree that he needs to be fighting Charlo or Caleb Plant. He don't need to be fighting nobody else, okay, for his next fights. And then David Morrell is definitely in that mix. But again, Charlo, he's a talker. So now that his fight was postponed, we don't know when he's going to fight now. I guess he still got to go through that fight with Selecki. But if he was really serious, he would be trying to get in there with Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't serious. But David Morrell seems like, and he got some fight game with him. I watched him. He just coming off a win against Calvin Henderson, who was also undefeated, had 15 fights on his belt. He was undefeated, and he beat him. It was a fight he was supposed to win, but, you got to win it. You still got to win it and put it on paper, right? So, let's see what happens, man, with this super middleweights, man. The super middleweight division was never the best division. You know what I'm saying? It's always been the welterweights and the lightweights, but, somebody got to make some noise somewhere, right? Canelo's undisputed at the end of the day. So everybody, all roads lead to Canelo, no matter who you are, all right? So, and he's fighting Triple G in September again for the third time. So let's see what happens, man. I hope David Morrell, they make the right decision. If they really feel it's like it's too early, then they need to settle that amongst each other, be on the same page, not having him say this to one reporter and then Ronnie Shields, the trainer, saying this to the next reporter. And then everything gets mixed up, and then, then y'all start, you're not agreeing on everything, man. And you're not working with each other, man. And then that's going to cause a rift between y'all. So y'all got to be on the same page. That's my point. All right? Is he ready or is he not? It's not going to take away from him. If he's not ready, he's just not ready. I would understand that with 7 fights under his belt. But if he got the goods, if he's really who he say he is, and he really wants to do what he wants to do, and he really feel he can do it, then go for it, man. Because you don't know if you get the shot. You just don't know. You don't know from day to day how things is going to go. All right? So you got to seize the moment sometime, no matter what it is. So we'll see what happens, man, between David Benavidez and Charlo and Caleb Plant. It's going to be interesting. I just wish they didn't have to fight anybody just to fight. Caleb Plant, he needs to fight David Benavidez or Charlo. They need to fight each other. And then David Morrell need to be coming along right in that mix. That's my point. So peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. Please subscribe to the page. Please leave your comments. And everybody have a beautiful evening. Protect yourselves. Social distance. COVID is still here. Be careful. Be safe out there. Peace and blessings.